Now let's go to the next model, which is called working on yourself. And in this model I comment on the things that that I ask you to write about on the first model. If you remember, the model that had about 15 questions or so, I was asking you different little things so that you will begin to personalize the course to your needs. So here is where we begin to comment on those things that you wrote at the beginning. Okay, so make sure that you have those notes handy, okay, the answers to the questions that I asked you at the beginning, and let's go with it. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about is the first question, or the second one, which was why you feel this way. And regardless of your answers, I want to bring your attention to a few points there. Number one, you feel this way because life is busier than ever. Because even in big cities where we are surrounded by people everywhere, we live lives that are more lonely than ever before. At the same time, we have demands on us from family, from children, from parents, from the educational system, from the government, yes, from taxes, from businesses that are constantly advertising to us to sell us stuff. We are bombarded with negative message units all the time. It's normal that over time you will tend to feel more and more deflated. At the same time, if you live in an average Western country, you will notice that there are a lot of cognitive dissonance moments. There are a lot of things that don't make sense. There are a lot of things that are not what they seem. There are a lot of things that you will feel that you've been lied about. And that hurts. And that makes you feel more down. When you trust a politician and they deceive you, that's a negative message unit that you're receiving at the subconscious level of the mind. When you left your car parked somewhere and it passes 1 minute of the time that you could be parked there and they are towing your car away already, that's another negative message unit that you're receiving. You're constantly receiving this. It's completely normal over time to get overloaded, to feel sad and tense and down and feel that you can't cope anymore. It happens to all of us. It means that you are alive. At the same time, we have, in general, this used to be only the realm of men in a way, but now women are suffering the same fate. Welcome to our world, ladies, which is society demands that you are successful. Society demands that you live in comfort and in style. Society demands that other people are envious of you, particularly of your material possessions. You see, society puts pressure on you to be constantly running the hamster wheel that will make you achieve goals that other people set for you. Your parents, the educational system, your employer, your children. In the end of the day, you feel like a marionette and everyone is pulling the strings except you. Of course you're going to feel down over time, even if you don't realize that this is one of the reasons. You have a lot of tension, a lot of stress. And what stress does to you is to activate those self-balancing mechanisms at the subconscious level that will naturally lead you towards shutting down. And that is what depression is all about in the end of the day. Remember what we explained earlier. Your subconscious mind is a self-balancing, self-healing mechanism. Its role is to begin to shut you, to prevent you from being exposed to more negativity when it notices that you are reaching a breaking point. So if you see depression that way, it will make a lot more sense to you. Now, another source of pressure is that in our modern lives, we tend to live far from where we work in many cases. In many Western modern societies and cities, we tend to commute a long way. Sometimes we are driving. When we are driving, just the mere fact of having to drive puts us in an anxious and how could we say, in a state of mind in which we know that if we get distracted, the consequences are huge. So if you have to drive to work, there you will have 15 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour of more accumulated tension. And don't think that that is going to go away. That is being accumulated. Any situation that is stressful, no matter how stressful it is, you are accumulating the negative message units at your subconscious level. The more of this you have, the sooner you will go into a depression, as your mind says, hey, it's better that we shut down to the external world now. This is the main reason why when you are overly stressed, you feel that you need a holiday. Where do you think that that thought, that feeling that you need a holiday comes from? It's your instinct. It's the deepest instinctive part of your mind telling you, this is what you need. And this is what we need ourselves today, to listen more to our instincts, to pay attention, not to override them, repress them, suppress them, kick them out, because they're not conducive to buying the next car that I want to have, or they're not conducive to helping me buy the next shoes that I want to have to look great with the girls. This is not about that. If you want to live a happy, long, healthy life, you need to learn to pay attention and act upon the suggestions of that little voice, of that little feeling that you have inside that tells you at any one time exactly what you need. Now, moving on. Another point I want you to think about is, once again, perspective. The question that I was asking you at the beginning was, tell me about the happiest times in your life. And one of the reasons why I was asking you this is because as you write down, as you remember your happiest times in your life, you now have some perspective. You can now come back to your very life and see the proof right there in front of you that you had happier times, that you were able to enjoy yourself, that you were able to connect with others, that you were able to feel that your life had meaning. This is something that you want to go back to. But the main reason why I made you write that down is so that you remember that once you were that person and you can be that person again. There's absolutely no guarantee that as long as you stay alive, you're not going to get better. You may well get better. You may well feel that passion for life again. So don't discount yourself before you go for the fight. Don't think or believe the lies that depression will tend to tell you. That this is impossible, that there's no point anymore, that you shouldn't be here, that you don't count. Remember, depression lies. So you want to make sure that you have some perspective. And having remembered and written down some of the best times that you had in your life will help you to do that. You still can feel that happy again. And once you feel that happiness again, I can assure you that you will go back and look back to this very moment when you're watching this video today, perhaps because you were in one of the lowest times in your life, and you will feel, it's good that I listened to him. It's good that I started to do the little changes that allowed me to go back to my normal self, where I feel that life has meaning, where I feel that there's a reason for me to be here, no matter how small that reason, no matter how insignificant that reason may appear to others. There's a reason why you're here, and you have a right to make the most out of your life. Now, talking about life, I made you write about your reasons to die, remember? In case that you are having suicidal thoughts or considering that option, I told you that no one can stop you from doing it. That is your right, and you can't be monitored 24 hours. We are all adults, and if you really want to go, you will go anyway. No one will stop you. This video won't stop you. Your family won't stop you. The police won't stop you. No one can do it. It is your call. It is your choice. But remember that there are other options. You are having temporary problems. You are going through a temporary state of mind. What you have are problems that, if you follow my recommendations, you can begin to feel a little bit stronger every day, and therefore you will have then the energy to face your problems. And if those problems have a solution, then begin to act upon them. Remember, action is the enemy of stress. Action is the enemy of anxiety, particularly. So you want to make sure that you take action if you have problems that can be solved. Even if it's hard for you to see the solution to these problems today, just be patient, because tomorrow you may feel better. Now, remember also that if you can't resolve a particular problem, say that you feel really sad because you had an accident and you are now partially disabled, and there's no solution where you are, or you can't afford the solution, okay? Imagine that you are going through something that has absolutely no solution and you positively know it. What can you do? Nothing. If it's true that this doesn't have any solution, accept it. It doesn't have any solution at this time, with the information that I have, in the environment that I have, with the financial resources that I have. Therefore, concentrate on other things, or see how you can make the best out of that state. For example, I remember that I do public speaking sometimes, and I remember having seen a speaker that, for whatever reason, I can't remember why, he doesn't have arms or legs, and this person has to be put on a desk to be able to talk to other people, and this person is making a career out of public speaking. I really admire this person. I know very little about them. I can't remember even the name of this person, but that is amazing. That's a person that, for whatever reason, and I think it was an accident, I think this person wasn't born like that, this person lost most of his ability to deal with the world in the way that he used to know. And despite of that, he accepted the situation, and he thought, what can I do to continue forward? What can I do to still live a life that will push me towards health and happiness? Without legs, without arms. That's amazing. There are people out there that are able to do it, so you are able to do it too. Even if you don't feel like to today, you are able, you have the strength, you are human. That energy is within you already. So think about that and begin to see your life in a different way, because you can definitely choose not to be with us anymore. But remember, no one can make you feel guilty about your decision. Ultimately, it's your decision, and you have the power to take it. But remember that this is a temporary problem, and you may begin to see things differently tomorrow. Now, I made you write as well about the opposite, your reasons to live life. And maybe you wrote very little there. Maybe you're feeling at your very worst. You didn't feel like to write anything else, or nothing will come to your mind. Well, the thing is that I want you to think about a couple of things there. Okay? Perhaps it's one more question for you to write down the answer to, which is, if you could do anything in life, what would you do? This is a very common question. You may have heard it from other speakers or therapists or anything else, because this question is very powerful. If you could do anything in life, forget about your limitations, forget about where you are today, or what your financial resources are, or what your education is today. If you could do anything in life, what would you be doing? What would you be doing with your life? I'm not going to give you any kind of special new age thinking and promise to you that if you trust the universe will bring it to you. But I'm just saying that through this question you may be inspired to discover or remember that there are things that you like, that there are things that you enjoy, that maybe if you can be a singer, maybe you can be involved in the show business if that's your thing. Maybe if you can't work in a circus, which was your dream, or you can't be an astronaut because your eyesight is poor, maybe you can work as a technician in that environment. There are many ways to try to come closer to what you want in life, and my invitation to you is to think about what is really meaningful to you in life and how you can find some kind of way to come closer to it, because that is one thing that will definitely help you to feel better, that will help you to get out of depression if you feel depressed today. Now, living in the moment is also particularly important. So when I ask you what are your reasons to live, it was just a reminder of how important it is for you to bring your mind where your body is. Most of us are constantly living in the past or in the future. Most of us are constantly longing for a past that we thought or that we think that was always better, and being afraid of the future. We rarely are where we are. We rarely are where we are physically. Our mind tends to be somewhere else all the time. And this is my invitation to you to remember that it's very important that you try your best to develop this ability of bringing your mind to where you physically are, of enjoying the moment. I can't remember what I was doing this morning. I'm always amazed every time I go to the restroom, to the toilet. I know it's a weird thing, okay, but I can't help but think this is a miracle. I just twist this metallic thing, which is called a tap, I think, and hot water comes out of here. That's amazing. And I am fortunate enough not to have lived in any kind of country where we didn't have sanitation. I had sanitation and health and taps and water all my life, but I'm still at my age amazed of all the infrastructure that had to be built, of the water flowing from all those places to come to my hands, and I can feel it and I can touch it. When you write with a pen, and very few of us write with pens today, but we used to, you have this little thing on your hand that you can touch, and it allows you to express your thoughts on paper. These pieces of plastic that we work with all the time, they're small and light. They're mobile devices that allows us to communicate like nothing with people that are thousands of kilometers away. It's amazing, it's great. I think that, I can't remember who was it, I think it was a comedian that said, everything is great and nobody's happy. And I think he has a point. We are so far away from where we are that we are losing, or we have lost the ability to enjoy, to appreciate how fantastic, how wonderful is the world that surrounds us. How amazing is that the object that we are touching in that moment. Look around where you are right now. Look at the technology that allows you to have my voice, to see my image as if I'm there with you right now. How amazing is that? But somehow, because we don't tend to live in the moment, we have lost the ability to appreciate the small little things. Living in the moment, and this is my point, and that's why I'm talking about this, will help you to appreciate the little things. And when you begin to appreciate the little things, from the little things in the natural world, looking at a flower, or a little bird, or an ant that is alive, it's a tiny little thing like this. And the thing knows what it has to do, and it does it. It's like a miracle of life. The sun comes up every morning, it goes down in the evening. It's super cool, super interesting, and yet we all go through life forgetting how amazing everything is. So for a moment, when you think about your reasons to live, think about this. Think that you are very lucky. Think that even if you are in an undeveloped country, as you listen to my words, most probably things are happening around you that are very cool, very interesting, that are making your life easier. Microwaves are another thing that I'm very amazed by. You go, you just put your cup of whatever there, you press a button, 1 minute later, you have it hot. That's amazing. No fire, no nothing. It's just go, press a button, wow. So, I could talk for hours about my appreciation of life, and particularly my appreciation of little things that remind me that life is great. That whenever and wherever you are alive, there are things around you to be amazed by and to enjoy. So remember to enjoy them. Now, my next question to you was, what may be your reasons to stay in this state? And the question may have surprised you, but it's a very common question that I ask all my clients in therapy. You see, because we don't realize that oftentimes, like I said, we have the conscious mind, the critical factor that separates the conscious part of the mind from the subconscious mind. And at the subconscious level, we have all the knowns, okay, which are all the associations that we picked up through life. They're all either positive or negative. Okay, we have associations with absolutely everything we've ever perceived from the very first few seconds that we were alive. And in hypnosis with my clients, sometimes information comes that seems to pertain to a time even before they were born. Nobody knows exactly how it works, but it's very interesting. The thing is that our subconscious mind is full of knowns, and we are pretty much disconnected from our subconscious mind and its workings. But one interesting thing that happens at the subconscious level is that sometimes we want to remain in the state that we are in, without us realizing it, with us consciously opposing this idea. But for whatever reason, we want to remain there. I'll tell you one of the examples that I always use to illustrate this case. I remember in one of my trainings, hypnotherapy trainings, to have come across the case study, and I saw this actual hypnosis session. It was a practical training with this man that he was doing a kind of job that he hated, and he did it for many years. But interestingly enough, as soon as his children were old enough, he started to develop a chronic pain that, making a long story short, the doctors couldn't find a reason to. Organically, he seemed perfectly okay. There was no reason for him to feel that way, yet the pain was very real. And the interesting thing is that the pain was increasingly making it harder for him to work, up to a point where he had to leave his job. But the interesting thing in this case is that under hypnosis it came out, the information that he actually never liked his job, he never wanted to be there. And so his subconscious mind had created this pain in order to help him to take the decision to change his life radically and do more of what he wanted to do with his time in his life, which was actually, if I remember properly, working on horoscopes. This was a person that was a machine operator, and because he was a responsible person and he had made pregnant his wife at the time when he was very young, he worked for many years. He did what he had to do as a responsible member of society to give to his family what they needed. But the thing is that he never wanted this life, and this life was completely opposed to what he subconsciously at his very core wanted. And so as soon as the children didn't depend on him, the subconscious mind pushed him in the direction of going to do what he really wanted. The most interesting thing for me from this case study was that you could see the pre-talk, the interview to this person as he was coming and explaining his problem to the hypnotherapist. And not only he had gone to several doctors, but also you could see that this person was a person that was very responsible, and he wanted to go back to work. In the sense that he knew that that's what he had to do. Yes? So consciously, and this is the interesting point here, consciously he wanted to get better, but subconsciously his subconscious mind was saying, we really know what you want, and it's not that job, and now that the kids are grown up, you don't need to do this anymore. So if you are too chicken to make it happen, I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to push you in this direction. We could talk for hours here about how the subconscious mind sabotages us, or seems that it's sabotaging our lives in order to give us what we really want, or in order to protect us. But this is not the point here. The point is, who benefits from you staying where you are? And if it's you who benefits, think about that. Imagine for a moment, think about the possibility that you are sabotaging your own happiness. Just imagine that that would be possible. If you were trying to sabotage your own happiness, why would you do this? What do you get in return? Do you get more attention? Do you get money from the government? Do you get a disability check? Do you get your partner not to leave you? Are you a lady, a mother, and you know that your full-grown children will go away from you if you stop having your very serious back pain? Think about that. Because consciously you may want to get out of depression, but subconsciously you may have some other reason to stay where you are. This is called secondary gain. Go and research it. Secondary gain. Learn more about this, and you will see that sometimes we seem to want to stay there. Another reason for you to stay there may be something else, a concept in psychology called life script. And the concept of life script says that we all have a certain limit. In our own psychology, we'll all understand that we can reach a certain point of happiness, of financial success, of anything else, and then we feel at the subconscious level, deep within us, that we don't deserve more than that we shouldn't get more than that. Maybe it's because my father was rich and powerful, and I feel that I shouldn't be more than him. So I try to sabotage my success when it passes a certain point, in order not to make my father uncomfortable, in order not to make him love me less. Maybe we have the life script of a victim. I happen to have in my family, and I won't say any names in case that they see this video at some point, but I think that I have the impression, knowing what I know, that I have in my family some family members that are addicted to debt. So I have the impression that they have the life script of the victim, and this is what the world has become. In a way, they get into debt time and again, and as soon as they get out of one particular debt, they get into another one. They're always asking for money, and they're always spending money, but money that is not theirs. And this has happened again and again and again, and it makes you think, it seems that these people want to live under the stress of having to pay back this debt. It seems that this is their way of living. It seems that they have accepted the victim role, they have accepted the stress role, they have accepted that their place in society is to work hard to pay for these things. This is their life script. Maybe you feel that your life script is that one, or you don't know, of course, but maybe your life script is that of a loser. Think about, for example, the people that win the lottery and they lose absolutely everything. 200 million in 3 years. That's ridiculous. How could that happen? It's like it would be more difficult to lose that money than to keep it growing. How do you do this? Yes? And it's not particularly because these people were overly generous, which in many cases they were, or financially ignorant or not literate. It's true that in many cases this is what happens. But also, a lot of these people had a particular psychological makeup. They didn't have the mind of a winner, as they call it. They had a life script of being the underdog, of being the one that is always beaten down, of being the one that is always below the threshold of what is success for others. And they got used to that, and they absorbed that from a very early age. So as soon as they have all this money, they feel that something is wrong. They feel that this doesn't belong to them. They feel like it makes them dirty in some way, and they start to try to get rid of it as soon as possible. Of course, in many cases they don't realize that they're doing this, but the subconscious mind is pushing them to comply with their life script. So something else to research, something to think about, because part of your depression could have important and deeper reasons to be there. You want to make sure that there's not something deeper behind your depression, that's something that is just happening at this time. If you have a state of depression that keeps on coming back again and again, if you have already been to the doctor and you know that that depression doesn't have any particular biological reason to be there, be suspicious. Go to a therapist, do some work on that, see what is blocking you, because it may well be something that is stopping you from being as happy and healthy as you can be at the subconscious level. Now, a summary of the last few slides. Why you feel this way, important. Remember, whatever you feel today, there's no guarantee that that's what you will feel tomorrow. So use perspective there. The happiest times in your life, once again, remember, you can be that happy again. The reasons to die, the reasons to live, and how awesome everything is, right? Bring your mind to the present. Very important, remember. And finally, analyze very clearly. If you see that you can't do it yourself, do it with a professional. We therapists are trained to deal with these kind of things. We see them all the time.